From the day girls are born, they are immediately pressured by society to be a certain way. They are dressed in pink and called princesses. They are told to be quiet and to keep their legs crossed and to play with dolls. Put makeup on because if not, you look sick, and as they get older, their bodies start to develop and they get told other things. They get told to not walk alone, keep your head down, don't lead him on, don't leave your drink alone, don't get too drunk. If your skirt is too short, then you're asking for it. Why didn't you speak up sooner? If you're really assaulted, then you wouldn't have taken so long to speak up. We get told boys will be boys, and that when men make sexual comments about us, that it's locker room talk. Little girls are blamed for having a male doctor touch them. They are told they should have told their parents even though they were only 6. In schools you are told to not show your shoulders or wear shorts to excite the boys. If you're a virgin, you're a bore, but if you fuck a guy, you're a whore. Nothing about life is easy for little girls who grow into women who are constantly told to be afraid of the world. But when they say they are scared of men, they are told their fears are false and that they have daddy issues. And when they speak up about assault, they are shamed and told to shut up and go make a sandwich. A new online survey reported by Stop Street Harassment found that 81% of women had experienced some kind of sexual harassment during their lifetime. 1 in 5 women will be raped at some point in their lives. 1 in 4 girls will be sexually abused before they turn 18 years old. On college campuses, more than 90% of sexual assault victims do not report their assault. Rape is the most unreported crime. Every girl or person who once presented as a girl seems to have a story. One night my friends and I sat down and talked about these stories. The shame that could come from them is prevalent, and so I put each of them under the wall of shame to represent the feelings that burden them. I want to give a voice to those whose shame never let them speak up before, and as we ran interviews, we created something powerful. With the wall of shame, the interviewees were asked to write about anything related to the topic of sexual assault or sexual harassment, from quotes from victims of the assault themselves to the disgusting things said by politicians, to personal stories or names of those who've hurt them before. The wall of shame became a place for their voices to be heard, to turn their shame into roars and their hurt into power.
Yeah, my name is Lauren. I'm 20 and I'm from Vallejo, California.
My name is Allie Haggerty. I'm 21 and I'm from Dayton, Ohio.
My name is Ariane. I'm 19 and I'm from Belize.
Jasmine. I'm not 20. I'm not 20. I'm 19. Sorry. And I'm from Louisville.
I'm Chris. I am 19 and I'm from Shepherdsville, Kentucky.
My name's Kelsey Hamilton. I'm 21 years old and I'm from Lewisburg, Kentucky.
I'm Summer. I'm 20. I am from Gallatin County, Kentucky.
My name is Kylie. I'm 19 and I'm from Cape Coral, Florida.
Okay. When is your earliest memory of being treated differently than boys?
Treated differently?
Mm-hmm.
Probably like 6 or 7 years old. My brother was always allowed to like go play outside by himself and ride his bike over to his friend's house a few blocks over, but like if I wanted to do that, my brother had to be with me or someone had to be with me. And I remember being like, why can't I go by myself? And you know, no one could ever really give me an answer, and I think that's shows a lot. They didn't even know why, but they knew.
Do your peers make you feel underestimated because of your sex?
Yes, I'm a runner, so I get told, oh, you run like a girl all the time. Even though there's been several practices where I literally beat all the guys in practice. So I've been underestimated because I was a girl. Just because, even though I'm an athlete, I'm still treated as a girl.
Yes, all of the time.
Can you give some examples?
I worked on a food truck for a year, which is a male-dominated community, and I was never allowed to help with setup or breakdown because I wasn't strong enough.
Have you ever felt pushed towards gender normativity?
Very, when I still presented as feminine, I always felt like I had to go as total feminine as I can. I had to almost create this character of how mass feminine I could be, and then when I started realizing how masculine I felt in my gender, I felt like I had to go the total other way, that there was no in between.
Yes, my mom was very adamant about trying to push me into being more like a girl. She would yell about it. She would snap at my dad if he tried to buy me things that weren't girly.
Do you feel like you were pushed to grow up too fast?
Definitely. I remember like as early as like 12 being like catcalled and hit on by people, and I think that caused me to like be more aware of my surroundings and therefore grow up faster.
When did you first realize that the world wasn't safe for you?
Probably 10 or 11. I started watching the news and I saw like rape was happening in the country and like different things happening to different girls, and that made me become more aware and educated about what was going on.
When I think I was in 7th grade, I was walking like a block away from my house around the corner, and this dude in this car rolled up and asked me like what my name was, my age, where I lived, yada yada, and he asked me if I smoked, and I said no, and he said, hold on, but he had asked me like, do you smoke? I said no, and he asked me, he said, so are you not going to get in the car with me? I said no. And he said, okay, hold on. So he went to go turn the car around, and while he was doing that, I like ran all the way home, probably the fastest I've ever run. And I think after that, I like really understood how unsafe it could be.
When was the first time you remember being sexualized?
5th grade, I think. I don't remember what age I was. It was around like 13 maybe. We were in line in school, and I remember this kid telling another one, I dare you to do it. And the next thing I know, my ass was being grabbed by the kid behind me.
When I was like 10, like having a big butt runs in my family, and so like I would be walking on the street and people would like catcall at me. So yeah.
Oh, 6th grade. Okay, this kid next to me spilled his pencil sharpener, like the shavings from it, and I remember the teacher being like, no one's going to lunch until that's cleaned up. So me being a nice person, decided to help said child clean up the pencil shavings, and the teacher stands directly behind me as I'm on the ground, hands and knees, cleaning pencil shavings. And he stood behind me and he goes, for future reference, that's not a good position for little girls like you to be in.
Recent harassment that you have experienced or remember?
It was definitely that Comic-Con one. The guy showed up later at our panel, like he had been following me around the whole day kind of, and he had earlier shown up at a idol panel, and all of the girls in that panel were underage. But it's an anime about girls who are like young girls who are pop idols, and they aren't sexualized in any way in the show for the most part from what I've seen, but their costumes ride a little high. He showed up into our panel and he got mad and left once he realized that my character was not a female.
Actually, I was at Walmart this morning and I had a guy say, hey baby doll, and I was like, okay, awkward.
I think last year, my freshman year, I was walking this class near the mansion, and at the bus stop across the street, some guy yelled at me, like in public, like bright daylight, everyone walking around. I kind of got spooked, so I like looked at it and just kept walking.
Have you ever felt afraid to speak up or out about your experiences?
Yes. When I was 19, I was dating a 32-year-old who sexually assaulted me, and I knew deep down that, like, I felt like if I would ever go forward to the police with that they'd be like, oh, you were, like, asking for it because you were dating a 32-year-old, like, what did you expect was going to happen with him?
Most definitely. I actually had an event happen last year. I had a date during spring break that turned into him taking advantage of me, and I did not feel able to talk about it until a few months ago when school started and I started going to the counseling center. But I have not told any of my family, as the guy blocked me and I felt like I had no way to contact him, so there was no way for me to get him in trouble or do that, and I felt embarrassed and ashamed, and I felt like my father, who taught me self-defense, would be disappointed, so I never told anyone in my family.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Is there anything you want to go into or no?
I'd kind of rather not.
Okay.
All the time, definitely. I still really haven't. I think this is the first time I've really talked about them in detail.
Are things different now because of your experiences?
Oh yeah, it's kind of costing me quite a few relationships because I have talked to people on more dating sites, planning to be out there, but me being more afraid of how to meet people and how vulnerable I could be, and it's made me so scared on how to interact with people and date. It's made it a lot more complicated, and so a lot of people don't take the time to let you be comfortable, and it makes you kind of anxious almost all the time every time you go out.
Yeah, I'm definitely a lot more cautious now, and it really affects my relationships with others and me attempting to have a relationship with somebody. I'm not as trusting as I was due to a past relationship, and it was really shitty. And those fears kind of transfer from that relationship to any other relationship that I've tried to have, and it just doesn't work out.
You should smile more. You're prettier when you smile.
Are you into guys? I want to kiss you.
I like to fuck little girls. You're my girl. It's your job to please me.
Did he actually rape you, or do you just regret hooking up with him?
I like middle schoolers because they're easy to hold down. A high school senior.
She's gay, but my dick can turn her straight.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything. Trump.
Without my knowledge or consent, I had engaged in my first sexual experience by kindergarten, Kyle Stevens, about Larry Nassar.
I didn't rape you. I'm your boyfriend. My boyfriend senior year.
Asexual people are often forced into corrective rape to make them like sex.
Don't tell anyone. It was just a game. Someone to me at 6 years old.
Sorry. If I try to force you to do something, tell me. I told him no. He made me anyway.
Be glad you have a big ass. Maybe someone will fuck you someday. My boyfriend to me after I said no.
She wanted me. She was practically begging me to fuck her. If that's rape, then every girl at the school wants to be raped.